Star Wars only, I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
Should Dave Filoni become president of Lucasfilm? Now, I know a lot of people are automatically going to say, yes, he should. Dave Filoni is the man. And I'm going to be honest, I love Dave Filoni. But let's raise some questions on if he should really replace Kathleen Kennedy. Now, if you don't know who Dave Filoni is, he is a guy who has made 3 pretty memorable shows. Well, I would say 2 and then 1 kind of so forgettable. His best show, in my opinion, is Avatar: The Last Airbender. His second best show is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. You can disagree with me all you want on that, on comparing the two, but I think Avatar: The Last Airbender is far better. And he also made Star Wars Rebels, which I don't think was that great of a show. But a lot of people like Dave Filoni because he is a cool guy. One thing he does better than the people at Lucasfilm right now, or the people in charge of Lucasfilm like Kathleen Kennedy and other employees and people like Rian Johnson, is he knows how to handle the fans. That is one good thing I like about Dave Filoni, and that would be one good thing about him becoming president, is that when it comes to dealing with fans, he knows how to deal with them. Not only that, he is a fan himself. I have a weird feeling that a lot of people at Lucasfilm right now aren't fans of Star Wars. They're simply in it for the money and the business, which, let's be honest, it's a business. Star Wars is a business. The goal is to make money and tell stories second. That's how it should be. I mean, that's really how it should be. That's how I would run it. That's how most people are going to have to run it if they want to make a profit. You're here to make money, not to, please everybody. But in the end, Dave Filoni is good with Star Wars fans, and he is a Star Wars fan. That's what makes him so lovable, is that not only does he tell good stories and make good stories, he is a fan himself, and you can see that with the stories he makes. You can't really see that with people like Kathleen Kennedy, and honestly, I'd hate to say it, even Rian Johnson, or other people that work at Lucasfilm, who are more, concerned about the message of Star Wars politically and with the ideology of Star Wars instead of the story of Star Wars, like Dave Filoni is. And so, a lot of people want Dave Filoni to be president of Lucasfilm, replacing Kathleen Kennedy. I, on the other hand, completely disagree. And I know a lot of people are probably going to click on the video right now and be like, oh, fuck this guy. Let me explain my point. Dave Filoni is in charge of animation at Lucasfilm. All of animation. Like literally everything. He is the head of animation. I forget the guy's name, but the supervising director for Rebels is now like something Ridge or something like that. I can't remember the guy's name. But anyways, Dave Filoni was mentored by George Lucas himself when it came to Star Wars: The Clone Wars. The movie, the show, he was mentored by George Lucas, and Dave Filoni was more or less in charge of everything, and he would call George Lucas for advice and everything. He was kind of George Lucas's number 2 in that show. However, when it came to everything else, it was Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, George Lucas himself said the reason why he put Kathleen Kennedy at his number 2 was she knows the business. And what do I mean by business? I mean the business of movies. That's where a lot of the money comes in, and that is the problem with Dave Filoni. He has no experience with actual movies. Now, I know a lot of people are going to come to his defense and say, well, look at Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the movie in 2008. He was the director of that. Yeah, but let's look back at what that show or movie was. The movie was originally supposed to be like 4 episodes of the show. It was supposed to be like the first 4 episodes, but George Lucas was like, you know what, this is so good, why don't we make it a movie? And that's what it was. It was a feature film, and it was alright. I didn't really like it, but, I haven't seen it in, 10 years. It came out in like 2008, so it's been 10 years, and I haven't seen it since then, because I don't really remember liking it much. But still, Clone Wars is a great show. Rebels is not the best, but a lot of people like it. But Dave Filoni has no experience with, movies, which is a big part of Star Wars. Whether you like Kathleen Kennedy or not, which I do not at all, you have to give her credit. I don't know why people don't give her credit for being a good producer. She is well known for being a producer, and that's why George Lucas liked her so much. She worked on a lot of popular films with people like Steven Spielberg, and that gave her a lot of credibility for movies. If you're a good producer, you know how the movie business works, and that's important. Dave Filoni, on the other hand, has never written for a movie, has never directed for a movie, or anything with a big film, with an actual film. And animation and film are completely different. Some people are going to try to defend them and say, oh, they're the same thing, it's not that big of a learning curve. It really is, though. Look at Steven Spielberg, who made, I believe he was the director for Ready Player One. He himself said the hardest part, and that movie was one of the hardest movies he's had to make, was because so much of it was animated. And that's hard for a guy like him who hasn't really done a lot of animated films. He's mainly involved with, real action film, and yeah, some CGI and whatnot, but he's involved with more quality films than actual film. But animation is a whole different part of movie making that Steven Spielberg had no experience in, but Dave Filoni does. So expecting Dave Filoni to go from animation to completely switch it over to film is weird. People are like, I want him to direct his own trilogy. Well, why? He has no experience with that. And also, here's another big problem I have with Dave Filoni becoming president. He's fine at his job he's got right now. One thing I love about Dave Filoni is that he makes great stories for Star Wars fans, and they're original stories. Characters like Ahsoka, characters like Ezra, and even, you know, like Aang from Avatar: Last Airbender. These are original characters, original thought-out ideas that Dave Filoni himself and Lucas came up with, and I like that. And that shows me that this guy has a lot of stories and creativity that he can work on. He can't do that if he's the president of Lucasfilm. He can't be the president of Lucasfilm, make, you know, a Star Wars animated TV show or something like that, make a trilogy, and not only that, you have to worry about the marketing, you have to worry about making the toys, you have to worry about the video games, and then the spin-off films, and the trilogy and whatnot. You have to worry about all this stuff, and that's a lot of work for a guy, and then you still want him to be in charge of different stuff. No, he should be at the position he's at right now, where he makes stories, and he makes damn good stories. I'm not the biggest fan of Rebels, I will always say that, but there were some good episodes in there. However, I think one of the problems with Rebels was that he was actually working on the Clone Wars, at least on the later half of it, because, like I said, he got promoted to be in charge of all of animation around the last half of Rebels, I believe, and someone else became the supervising director and whatnot, but still, Dave Filoni is great at his job. That's why I don't want him to get promoted. I think it's a waste of talent. I think it's a waste of talent to promote a guy who has done no film, who has done no producing work with film, make him president of Lucasfilm and be like, alright, good luck, make us good movies and whatnot. And he's going to be like, alright, well, let's worry about the movies, the shows, the marketing, the toys, the video games, all this crap, the comic books, the books. You have all this crap you have to worry about, and people still want him to make his own show and whatnot. That's just not happening. You should get someone who's a good producer to be the Lucasfilm president, not Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni is a great guy at his job, and I love the fact that he has his job, and I don't want him to ever lose it, and I want him to stay at his job. I want him to make stories that we as Star Wars fans love, and I want him to make more, you know, shows that are really good, and that's what he's doing. You know, he's making Resistance, which I'm not looking forward to, but still, you have that show, and you also have the Star Wars Clone Wars coming back, so I want him to do stuff like that, stuff that I know and that I know he's going to be good at, not making films that I'm, you know, sketchy on. If you told me that he had directed 3 films, produced 4, and written 5, then yeah, let's make him Lucasfilm president. But since he hasn't done any of that, no, he shouldn't be Lucasfilm president, because he doesn't know the movie business, he doesn't know the toy business, the marketing, all that stuff. He knows making good stories, and that's what he should continue to do, not be president of Lucasfilm. I will follow this video up a little later with my top 5 people who should be president of Lucasfilm, and I'm going to be honest, one of them is not going to be Dave Filoni. I love the guy, but like I said, it's a waste of talent making this guy president of Lucasfilm. He needs to create more Star Wars stories, because that's what he does best. But hey, this is just my opinion. Comment your thoughts below. What do you guys think about Dave Filoni? Should he be president of Lucasfilm, or should he stay at his position making Star Wars stories? Comment your thoughts below. I'm Star Wars Only. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see y'all next time. May the Force be with you, always.